Simply, there isn't room. Allocating, and those rooms were for the Stevenson property, where there is water and there is lot coverage, and they've sold that property, and it was probably a great decision. Now they can develop what they do have on their campus. I have no quibble with that in terms of a nonprofit operating responsibly, but I have a big problem adding more density to a location that's already heavily impacted. I don't think it's required. I don't think it will really benefit them. And I'm sorry to say, I think that this is partly still about personal issues trying to prevent McCallum House from getting rooms that have existed for years, that have water, that have parking, and that would produce revenue for our town and for the county. So just some thoughts. And once again, I want to stress, I think the Art Center is wonderful. These are business decisions, and giving them those extra rooms without the capital to develop them and without any place to develop them anymore is not going to improve their situation.
Should any other members of the public want to speak on this issue? Okay, if there isn't, we'll bring this back to the board. County Council, you want to make some comments?
Before board comment, I'd like to make a few comments with respect to all the speakers. First of all, with respect to Mr. Carter's statement that his client has been relying since December 15th on the resolution that was adopted by the board, I feel it important to read into the record a portion of the resolution. Resolution number 08250. Be it further resolved that the amendment shall not become effective until after the California Coastal Commission approves the amendment without suggested modification. In the event that the California Coastal Commission suggests modification, the amendment shall not become effective until after the Board of Supervisors of the County of Mendocino accepts any modifications suggested by the California Coastal Commission and formally adopts the proposed amendment. So the action on the 15th does not become effective until the Coastal Commission certifies and approves it and it comes back to the board. I need to make that point. And if you're you stated that you were acting in reliance on that resolution, and that's what that resolution says. Now, the Brown Act requires us to cure a notice defect, and that is what I'm recommending here. I don't disagree with Wendy, and I don't disagree with Barbara with respect to the Art Center and the rooms and the relationships. That's not the issue here today. The issue here today is we've got to fix the mistake we made in December that I feel we made. And yes, I am a government lawyer, and I tried to tell the board what to do. They didn't listen to me on the 15th, and that's why we're here. This is a mess. All I'm recommending today is that we take action to undo what we've done, and I strongly recommend that we rehear it, because I think it's fair to everybody, because the arguments that the McCallum House folks have made, and with respect to the Art Center should be here to hear those arguments, to present their own side, and then the board can decide what they want to do with the proposed plan amendment. But that's not what's here before you today. What's here today is the decision to undo what I believe was done improperly because it wasn't noticed properly, because the Art Center was not put on notice that they could potentially lose something that's been given to them by the Board of Supervisors back in 1996.
Would you want to respond on the issue of the change in the rules of procedure?
The change in the rules is a red herring and irrelevant. The Board of first of all, the Brown Act requires us to take action to redo what we've done wrong. So the rules really don't come into play in that regard. Secondly, the rules of procedures for the Board of Supervisors is always under review and has been under review. The rule with respect to rescission has always been wrong, in my opinion, and we finally fixed it. Now it's in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. The rule with respect to reconsideration has not been changed. And in addition, you can waive the rules by a 4/5 vote and not even use the rules in order to make your decisions. So to me, the rules is a non-issue as far as I'm concerned.
Any comments, board? Supervisor McCallum?
Well, I think County Council has summed it up very well. And last point first, the rules, they are the board rules, and that's why we can amend them, we can waive them. And so I really don't think that's an issue at all. Also, the merits of the proposal is not what is under consideration here, neither the merits for the applicant nor the merits for the Arts Center. That's really not the point. The point is, was the action taken on December 15th taken with proper notice? And just as counsel for the applicant objects that his client should not be deprived of property rights without due process, neither should the Arts Center or anyone else. And the notice requirement is to all of the public, but then specifically to the Arts Center. So even if, it's just incomprehensible to me that you can take an action that wasn't noticed. And the only action that was noticed to the public was a general plan amendment and an ordinance amendment. And yet, counsel for the applicant in his letter maintains, after referencing the general plan amendment and the ordinance amendment, says the action taken was not a general plan amendment, which gets back to county counsel's question. If not the noticed action, which was the only action in front of the board, then what was it? So it seems like, in a roundabout way, counsel for the applicant agrees that the action taken on December 15th was illegal, because he's trying to purport that the action actually taken was something different from the action that was noticed to be taken. And this thought is reinforced by his caution to the board: before you take another action of questionable legality. And so the questionable legality was the action taken on December 15th without appropriate notice. We have received a letter from the Arts Center that properly cites the error that was made and asks for correction as provided by the government code sections, and that's what we're here for today. So again, I just want to emphasize it's not the merits of the proposal, which may still come back before us. And I also completely agree with the county council that it's imperative that we update the Mendocino Town Plan without further delay. That should be done this year. That should be at the top of our priorities to make sure we finally get this accomplished, so that we can then have a discussion on the merits of what should the changes to the town plan be, if any, what rooms are available, if any, and who should they go to and by what criteria. That's the full discussion that needs to take place, not one applicant coming in and succeeding in getting an action taken that isn't properly noticed to the public or the affected parties.
Okay. Any comments? I think it's this time we've heard from the public looking for some sort of movement on this issue, a motion. Supervisor Colfax.
I would move without comment that the Board of Supervisors denies GP 1208/number OA 32008 finding at this time. The request to be inconsistent with Mendocino Town Plan Policy 4.13-1 relative to the maintenance of a residential commercial visitor serving unit balance, given the inconclusive status of an ongoing review of the MTP. I read the wrong one?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't do that. That's not what's on the board's agenda for action today. What's on the agenda today, and that's the first page where it says board agenda item number 12.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion and possible action to rescind.
I was restraining myself from responding to this, and I picked up the wrong.
I like the first part of your
document.
motion, the no comment.
That's what happens when you're an ostrich. You have your head in the sand most of the time. As I was reading that, I was thinking, why this? But again, it fit, given the way we proceeded through this whole period.